What's going on, guys? Welcome back to episode 3 of the Tinted Visors podcast. Today we'll be going over the Central Division, how we think it's going to shake out, and then we will do some hot takes, a few hot takes each, and then we'll go into some draft battles about a couple different topics, and then we'll do trivia as usual.
Blaze cutting up and you won't hear a sound. I got thousand gunmen turning up, but they will gun you down.
Before we get going, we're going to do another segment of Card of the Day. So, Caden, you want to get us started?
Yeah, I'll start us off here. So today we have a Bo Horvat card. Little tragic, but we have a Bo Horvat enshrinements autographed card from the Cup. For those of you who don't know, the Cup is one of the most expensive sets that Upper Deck creates every year. So I didn't pack this. I bought it at a card show before he was traded. Super nice card, really pops the autographs. So special card in my collection.
Yeah, the card looks so nice. The colors really pop together, and when you bought it, I knew it was one of your favorite cards right away. But for me, we're gonna stick with the Canucks. I'm gonna stick with the goalies actually, and I'm gonna go with my Thatcher Demko Future Watch auto, number to 999. Pretty special card. Again, I did another trade for it when it was pretty low value, and it's just risen since then. Obviously, with what he's been through the past season, hasn't been doing too well, but hopefully he can bounce back this season and really carry the Canucks. But yeah, it's another one of my favorite cards. Going to stick around for a while, and it's one of my favorites for sure.
No, absolutely. I remember you acquired it before the 2020 bubble run, and that's really when Demko kind of burst onto the scene. And I remember we were talking about it, getting all excited about the card because it was obviously going up in value with Demko's performance.
So that, guys, we're going to move on to the division predictions again. We're going to flip over back to the Western Conference and do it with Central Division. Coming up at number 1, we've got Caden's early Stanley Cup picks. We've got the Dallas Stars. You know, it's an interesting lineup, really good lineup, filled with young players and old veterans. You know, you got your Jason Robertsons, you got your Joe Pavelskis. Solid lineup, forwards, D, goaltender with Jake Ottinger. I think they're going to be really good. One guy I think needs to step up is a guy like Ty Dellandrea. You know, they got a couple former first-round picks in their lineup that really need to take a step forward. Dellandrea, Thomas Harley, guys like that. But I think Dellandrea's going to get some top 6 opportunities, and I think he really needs to break out this season.
No, absolutely. Dellandrea is looking to have a good year, and break out for them would really help them. Another point I want to look at is their offseason acquisition, Matt Duchene. They obviously have one of the deepest forward cores in the league, and when you get a guy like Matt Duchene to slot in right now as your third-line center, that's unbelievable. I think he's kind of going to be an X factor for them. He's going to stabilize that middle 6 and, you know, add some more scoring punch to an already high-motoring Dallas Stars offense. Another thing I do want to touch on is the defense. Obviously, they have some veterans back there, like Ryan Suter, but look at the young guys to take a little step here. Thomas Harley, Niels Lundqvist, guys who could take a bigger role this year and kind of eat some big minutes for them down the stretch. So coming in at number 2 in the Central Division, we have the Colorado Avalanche. Obviously a disappointing exit to the playoffs last year, losing to the Kraken in 7 in the first round. And despite not having Gabe Landeskog, their captain this season, they addressed that issue, bringing in Ryan Johansson and Ross Colton to kind of solidify that center depth. I think they still take the number 2 spot in this conference easily, backed by, you know, monster seasons from McKinnon and Rantanen again.
Yeah, you know, it's still a great lineup. They're just 1 year removed from winning that Stanley Cup back in 2022. Like you said, McKinnon and Rantanen, they're both going to step up with the absence of Landeskog, and I think they're very capable of doing so. They've shown us time and time again they can get, you know, 50 goals each, 100 points each. It's really easy for them. They bring in guys like Colton. They bring in guys like Thomas Tatar. You know, obviously as a Tampa fan, it's a little heartbreaking to see Colton move on, but they did the right moves by bringing in guys like him, moving on from a guy like Alex Newhook. You know, as good as he could have been, you know, he needed a shake-up. He needed to move on in his career, and they got younger. You know, they got some prospects. They got some picks. And, yeah, you know, it's going to be a great season. They're going to have to probably going to win now, again, because, you know, Devon Toews is actually a UFA after this season, and I think he's going to command a big raise come the offseason, and so I don't think they're going to be able to retain him, so it's going to be a kind of win-now mode for them.
Do you think the moves they've made up front are enough to fill the boots of Gabe Landeskog?
It's tough to say just because you can never really find, a $7 million winger to replace, Landeskog like that. I think they did what they could, and I think there is a lot of potential for guys to sort of move up. But it's not about the guys that they brought in sort of replacing Landeskog. It's maybe sort of like Lehkonen replacing Landeskog, then Tatar replaces Lehkonen, and then Colton replaces that. It's something like that. But yeah, I don't think they can replace a guy like him. They're just gonna have to sort of handle what they've been given. So moving on to number 3, and just a reminder, we did pick 5 teams coming out of the Pacific, with the Canucks grabbing that last spot. So we're just gonna have a top 3 in the Central Division making the playoffs. And with that number 3 spot, it's going to be the Minnesota Wild. Obviously haven't gotten over the first round hump in a long time, but they are still a solid squad with Kaprizov, Boldy up front, solid decor with Spurgeon and Brodin still there, with young guys like Brock Faber coming up as well. What I will be interested to see is a guy like Zuccarello. He's getting up there in age. That is really solid Minnesota career so far, playing alongside Kaprizov on that top line. But, eventually age does catch up, and I hope he can continue, but who really knows, right? On the flip side, you got young guys coming up. Marco Rossi. I really want to see him take a step forward, maybe crack into that top 9, top 6 forward lines. He's put on a lot of weight since a couple years ago when he was looking like a pretty small player, but he's a, top 10 pick a couple years ago, and I think he could really make some noise.
Just another point I want to touch on this Minnesota Wild squad is that they're lacking a true 1C. Joel Eriksson Ek is their first line center, but he's more of a 1B, 2A kind of guy, in my opinion. Right? He kills penalties, he plays a two-way game, and he's very solid. But he's going to have to take a step for this Minnesota Wild team to, make the playoffs and even make a run. He's going to have to step up and kind of be the closest thing they have to that first line center. As long as he keeps playing his two-way game, sky's the limit for him. I think he could have a really under-the-radar year for the Minnesota Wild. Another point I do want to touch on is their goaltending. Marc-Andre Fleury obviously has seen better days. Age is starting to catch up to him, and the guy who took the reins last year was Philip Gustafsson. He had a great year last year, but Wild fans are hoping that he can repeat that this year, and he's shown no signs of not being able to. So if the Minnesota Wild have found themselves another elite goalie, they could make some noise in the playoffs, maybe even make a run.
It's interesting what you say about the goalies. Just building on that, he's a young guy. Gustafsson, I think, is 25, 26 years old, but they do have another guy, Jesper Wallstedt, in the pipeline. And so what really happens there? Do you play them both eventually? Like, you have Wallstedt as a backup a couple seasons, or do you have to move on from Gustafsson? It's going to be interesting to see what they do. You can never really hurt to have too many good goalies, but they won't be able to retain both of them for too long. And both of them fighting for a number 1 spot. You won't be able to give it to both of them.
Coming in at number 4 and just missing the playoffs, we have the St. Louis Blues. Obviously made some interesting moves in the offseason and during the season last year, buying low on a guy like Jacob Vrana, picking up Kapanen off waivers, and then also trading for Kevin Hayes in the offseason. This Blues team has a deep forward core, led by veterans up front like Braden Shen. They also have a good mix of young guys like Robert Thomas, Jordan Kyrou. This team can put the puck in the net, and they could very easily squeak into the playoffs as that 3rd seed and give a 2 seed a run for their money.
Yeah, I agree. I honestly, I'm pretty high on this team. I really like the looks of Robert Thomas, Jordan Kyrou, guys like that leading the offense. And I think it's just more the defense and the goaltending that's the issue for them. They have a lot of money tied up in Torrey Krug, Justin Falk, and Colton Parayko, and not to say that they're not worth those contracts, but it is a lot of money into those 3 players. Another guy would be Jordan Binnington, right? He's obviously had the amazing run back in 2019. Even in 2020, he was playing well. But as of late, he hasn't really shown that starting goaltender mojo that he once had. He looks a little nervous now. He wasn't so nervous before, but I think if he can either regain his focus, or maybe they can bring in some goaltender to sort of take the reins over, I think they can be really good. Another guy I want to see step up, especially in that defensive core, is Scott Prunovich, former Hobey Baker winner. He's just been plagued by injuries, season after season, and I think under the right amount of minutes, the right amount of mentorship, I think he can be really, really good for them for sure. Let's go into number 5, missing on the playoffs yet again. We have the Nashville Predators. I really liked what they did at the trade deadline last year, moving on from Matthias Ekholm, bringing in Reed Schaefer and a couple first-round picks. Really looked like they were making the right moves. And then the offseason kind of confused me, bringing in Ryan O'Reilly, bringing in Luke Shen. Not only the big sort of money deals, but, longer-term deals as well. You can't really blame them, I guess. They can't really waste the primes of guys like Roman Josi and Philip Forsberg. They need to keep, a quick retool and sort of get back in the playoffs really quickly. One guy I'd like to see breakout would be Luke Evangelista. He had a great showing in the second half of last season, and I think he can sort of take that momentum into this season and show that he can really play top 6 minutes, power play minutes, stuff like that. Another guy, with the absence of Matt Duchene and Ryan Johansson this offseason, I think Tommy Novak can come in and really fill those shoes, playing, maybe second line center, maybe even some minutes on the first line center as well.
Yeah, you mentioned Evangelista, just another guy, another player to note up front who I think could break out for them this year is Juuso Parssinen. Didn't play a full season with them last year, played 45 games for the Predators, and put up 25 points. And there was a streak in there last year. He was red hot. He had a point streak going. He was point per game. And a full year with the Preds, he could very easily 40, 50 points. Coming in at number 6, we have the Winnipeg Jets. They do still have some star power on this team, led by guys like Mark Scheifele, Kyle Connor, on the back end, Josh Morrissey, and obviously Connor Hellebuck between the pipes. But we just don't really think they have the depth to really compete for a playoff spot this year. It's looking like a year of mediocrity, and it'll be interesting to see if they decide to trade a guy like Connor Hellebuck and kind of begin their rebuild. But one player I'm looking at on the Jets to break out this year is Cole Perfetti. Didn't play a full season last year. He played 51 games and put up 30 points. He did only score 8 goals, but I'm expecting a full season with the Jets, some more ice time. I think Cole Perfetti could really flourish and have a breakout year for the Jets.
Yeah, it's a great pick. It's a great young player. I don't have too much to add. To be honest, I'm just really excited to see what they do come, trade deadline time. With 2 UFAs, Scheifele and Hellebuck, you get at the trade deadline, you retain half, that value goes up just so much more. And I think, they can do similar to what they did with Dubois. And instead of getting, young players, they get sort of, Gabe Velarde age, that kind of potential kind of players, and they do a really quick retool. Or you can go the full rebuild, get a bunch of picks, get a bunch of young players. But I think they have a lot of opportunity at hand. And I think with those 2 guys, Scheifele and Hellebuck, I think that can bring them in a huge haul. And I'm just excited to see it. Coming in at number 7, we have the Arizona Coyotes. And, I think this season, similar to what we said about the Canadians, this season's all about development, all about the young guys, right? Heller's still young, Schmaltz, he's getting a little older, but he's still, he's going into his prime now. But one guy I don't want you to forget about is Dylan Guenther, the gold medal winning goal player. He's got a lethal shot. Unfortunately, as a Canucks fan, we did give up the pick that turned out to be him. We got a name of Oliver Ekman-Larsson, if you guys know who that is. But no, I'm really excited to see what he can do. If he can play on that top line with Cooley, play on the right side, Keller on the left, I think those guys can put up a bunch of points. And no real expectations for them. Just a year for development.
No, absolutely. Like you mentioned, this is going to be a very similar year to the Montreal Canadiens. Just kind of let the kids play. And, they can put on a show like you said. They have some big names down there, some great young talent, and Mullet Arena is going to be buzzing this year. Rounding up the Central Division, coming in 8th, we have the Chicago Blackhawks. Obviously had a very busy offseason, drafting first overall and taking Connor Bedard, but also bringing in some supporting pieces to kind of ease Bedard into the NHL. Guys like Taylor Hall, Corey Perry, Nick Foligno, these veterans to kind of mentor him and kind of show him the way. So it's going to be a super exciting season for Blackhawk fans, obviously getting your first look at your prized possession, and it's going to be a preview for what the future holds this year.
Yeah. No real expectations for them. He's going to put on a show. He really is, Connor Bedard. And I think, it's going to get the fans excited again. They need to give him a reason to come back. Obviously, had an abysmal season last year. Moving on from icons like Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane, you're going to have to bring up the new generation. One guy I don't want you guys to forget about would be Lucas Reichel, former first-round pick. I think he can really fill some shoes right now. He could get that second center position, or even play the wing for Bedard. But I think, he can have a really big year. I think he can really step into those shoes. There's a lot of gaps in that roster, so I think, the young players can really fill that. And I'll be excited to see, obviously, what Bedard does, but I want to see what Reichel can do as well.
So that wraps up our Central Division predictions. Comment down below your thoughts, and then obviously the Metropolitan will wrap it up next week. So just moving on, we have the hot take section of the podcast today. Kenny and I have both prepared 3 hot takes that we will go back and forth saying and kind of giving some reasoning. So Kenny, you want to start us off?
Yeah, happy to. For me personally, my three will probably start as the coldest take and then get hotter and hotter progressively. But for my number one, we're going to go with Tage Thompson taking home the Rocket Richard at the end of the season. Obviously his goal totals just keep rising. If you look at the stats, he only went up 40 seconds in ice time, and he went up by 10, almost 10 goals. So that puts him at 47. You give him another sort of 8 or 9, gets around 55 mark. I think that's good enough to beat out the rest of the competition. And looking at the power play, looking at his lines, they're feeding him nonstop. He'll be the go-to guy, right? And I think he can really rack up the goals, and I think he can take home the top goal scorer award at the end of the season.
Phew. Starting off pretty hot, Kenny. I don't know. So my first one, we're gonna say Nathan McKinnon will win the Art Ross Trophy this season. In a league with McDavid and Draisaitl, this is not the most popular of takes, but he did only play I think 71 games last season, and he put up 111 points. He is one of the best 5-on-5 players in the world on the ice, right? And, his speed is second to maybe McDavid's. We've seen his acceleration time and time again. And now that Colorado is going another season without Landeskog, look at McKinnon to step up again and take home the Art Ross Trophy.
That's a hot take. It's hard to bet against McDavid. It's hard to bet against Draisaitl. But honestly, if there's someone to do it, it might as well be him. Especially like you said, he's gonna have to step up with Landeskog out of the game. But moving on to my number two, probably cause a lot of debate among you guys. But I'm going with Brad Marchand under 50 points at the end of the season. And this is assuming he plays a full 82 games, so I think he's going to be under point per game, well under, a matter of fact. But looking at the stats, he put up the lowest point total in his past 7 seasons. Putting up 67 points. He hasn't put that up since back in 2015-16 when he put up only 61 points. And look what happened. You lose Krejci, you lose Bergeron, take away some of his best teammates, and I really don't think he can sort of keep up the pace he's been having the past couple of seasons. Not to say he's not a great player. I just think Boston as a team is going to take a step back, and I think that's going to affect his point totals. I think the number one guy is going to be Pastrnak. Marchand's going to take a step back, and I think it's going to near 50 for sure, but I think he's going to 47, 48 points maybe.
Wow, I can't believe there's a take hotter than that one after this. It's pretty wild to me. My second hot take, and I will get called a delusional Canucks fan after we hear this one, but it is Thatcher Demko will win the Vezina Trophy this year. So, the Canucks team, we missed the playoffs by a large margin last year. Demko wasn't healthy, but when he came back, he played well, right? This Canucks team, they adjusted their defense. They addressed it. It was obviously their weak point. Is it enough to get them in the playoffs? No one's really sure. But one thing for sure is Thatcher Demko is going to have to step up. And if he can stay healthy for this full year, I think he's going to be a very large reason why the Canucks will get into the playoffs this year. And I think he will get some Vezina votes at the very least, but I think he can definitely walk away with the trophy at the end of the year.
It's a hot take. Obviously, as another Canucks fan, I think it could be likely. He's if we can get Bubble Demko back for a full season, especially with the upgraded defense that we have, I think we could see it happen. Moving on to my last and final, perhaps the hottest of them all. Contradicting what we said in the predictions, but I do think the Colorado Avalanche will miss the playoffs. A very, very disappointing end to their season last season, going out in the first round after winning the Cup the year before that. And they're not going to have their captain, right? They're not going to have Landeskog a full season. Who knows if they can fill that? They didn't really make too many moves that really sort of excites me, really gives me hope in them. You look at their defense, one of the best in the league. Top line, one of the best in the league. But the depth, I don't see it there. I don't see the goaltending there whatsoever. Georgiev, as good as some people may think he is, I don't really see it. I don't see him carrying them anywhere this season. And I really do think we could see the Colorado Avalanche miss the playoffs.
That is a scorching hot take. That is wow. No words for that one. But moving on to my last one, we have Jacob Vrana, point per game this year. Obviously was battling a lot of issues last year, getting bounced around team to team. But I think this is his year. And on a St. Louis Blues team that has enough talent to put the puck in the net consistently, I think Vrana's going to get a lot of opportunity. He's still young, still reasonably young. And, if the Blues see themselves fall out of playoff contention, they may look to give a guy like him more ice time and just see what he can do with it and he can develop. But I think 82 points, it's a hot take, but I think Vrana can get there.
So guys, moving on to what we're going to call a draft battle. The way this is going to work, we're each going to draft a 6-a-side team, 1 center, 2 wing, 2 D, and a goalie. And it's just going to be based off certain criteria that we established beforehand. So the first one we're going to do is based off the 2018 draft. So any of those players drafted in rounds 1 to 7. And again, you're going to need 1 center, 2 D, 2 wings, and a goalie. The way we'll do it, whoever has first overall, the next person is going to get number 2 and 3, then back 3 and 4, sort of like a snake. And so I think we've decided that I'm going to get first overall for the 2018 draft.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, you can start us off here.
All right. So with my first overall pick, maybe a little bit biased, but I'm going to go with Quinn Hughes.
Oof. Okay. Takes Quinn off the board. Okay. So, with my first 2 picks, I am going to take... We'll do our 2 wingers here. I'll take Brady Tkachuk on my left wing, and on my right wing, I'll take Andrei Svechnikov.
I knew that. I knew it. I knew I was going to lose out on the wingers. But I got to pick my position right now. I got to be tactical. Looking at centers, looking at goalies, it's really, really shallow in terms of depth. So my next 2 picks are going to fill those positions. At goalie, we're going to take a guy who took a real big step forward this year. We're going to go with Akira Schmid, however you want to say it. Really played lights out against the Rangers, ran into the brick wall that was Carolina Hurricanes, but I'm going to take him in my goalie spot. And then at center, I have it between 2 guys right now. But I think I'm going to go with, at the time, the 5th overall pick from Arizona. I'm going to go with Barry.
Oh, no, that was the center I wanted. Oh, man. Okay. So, we're going to adjust the defense here. And so we're going to take the first overall pick, lefty. We're going to take Rasmus Dahlin. And then for our right D, between 2 guys here, and I'm not too sure who I want to go with here, but I think for my right D spot, I will be taking Evan Bouchard. He's looking like it's going to have a breakout year this year. And, Dahlin Bouchard, that's a great D pair right there.
All right. Leaving it a little bit empty for me. We'll go with the 1 wing and 1 D. Play alongside Quinn. We're going to go with a guy who's on a bridge deal. He's going to get paid eventually. We're going to go with Keandre Miller.
Okay.
And on the wing, we'll go with play on the right wing. I think he was drafted as a center, but we're going to play him as a wing. We're going to go with your breakout candidate, Igor Sharangovich.
Oh, wow. Okay. A little bit off the board there. All right. So to round out my team, in between the pipes, you've left me no choice, but I have to go with Lucas Dostal. Not proven, but still young with potential. Hopefully can save this team. And then down the middle, we're going with a guy we talked about today, breakout candidate, Ty Dellandrea. Not the greatest center to have, but he does have that upside, and he's got 2 great wingers on either side, so I think it's a solid team.
All right. I started it, so I might as well end it off. Looking for another wing. I think we're going to go with the most proven guy out of the ones that I have, at least. And we'll go with, out of Philadelphia, Joel Farabee.
Good pick.
But yeah, that rounds it up. Comment down below if you think Team Caden or Team Kenny takes that one. Two very interesting approaches. One sort of positional, one going best available. But yeah, let us know who you think will win. And let's move on to category number 2. We'll do a second draft, and we're going to do Ontario-born players. This is going to be an active player list, and in the spirit of fairness, we are going to eliminate McDavid from any draft eligibility. So we're going to call it a McDavid-less Ontario-born draft. Caden, you got the first overall
Yeah.
pick.
With my first pick, I think it's a no-brainer here, even with McDavid off the board. I'm going to be taking for my right wing spot, Mitch Marner. Obviously, just a great playmaker, great all-around player, kills penalties, kind of does it all for you. So I'll be taking him.
I don't blame you. That was a good-looking pick. I was going to take him too. There's a lot of good players. There really is. But I think we're going to go... We'll do a forward and a D. A little biased, but we're going to go at center. My boy, Steven Stamkos.
I knew it.
And then on D, let's go with... You know what? Give me Aaron Ekblad. 2 first overall picks
Wow.
back-to-back.
Okay. Okay, so here we can go a few different ways here, but I think I'm going to address the defense here. So, with my first pick at defense, I will be taking Vince Dunn. Obviously, had a great year last year, signed that big contract, looking to take another step there. And, yeah, for my right D, we're going to go with Dougie Hamilton.
Okay. I had both those guys on my list, so I was looking out for them. Staying in the spirit of picking first overall picks, on the lefty, we're going to go with Owen Power.
Wow.
Play with Aaron Ekblad.
Wow.
And then, you know what, let's fill out a winger. I got an old guy and I got a young guy. Go with the young guy. I really like him. Coming from the London Knights, we're going to go Robert Thomas.
Oh, it's a great pick. He's had a pretty under the radar year last year, but so my picks here, there's some talent here, and yeah, I think I'm gonna have to take it here. So for my center position, surprised this guy still hasn't been drafted. We're going with John Tavares. Gonna play alongside Marner, 2 Maple Leaf boys there, and then we're gonna fill out the left wing spot here, and we're gonna go with Carter Verhaeghe. Had a great year last year. Obviously scored the game winner for the Panthers in Game 7 against the Bruins. And yeah, just that's what he does. He puts the puck in the net, and playing alongside Marner, going to be gross.
Couple good picks. I guess I'm going to end mine off. We're going to go with a left wing and a goaltender. A young player. We'll go with Nick Suzuki to play on the left wing with Stamkos and Robert Thomas. And then in net, as much as I hate to say it, there's only one real proven option. We're going to go with Jordan Binnington.
Jordan Binnington between the pipes. It's a great pick. For my goalie spot, not great options here, but I think we're going to have to go with a vet, someone who has proven he's able to be a starter, but we're going to go with Cam Talbot. So that wraps up the Team Ontario draft. Let us know down below which team you like more, Team Caden, Team Kenny.
So guys, that wraps up the content. Before we end it off, we're going to do some more trivia. We're going to do a list. We're going to do a top 10. We're going to do the last 10 Canucks first-round picks.
Okay, wait, okay. I like this,
For
actually.
context, it'll date back until the first of 2 picks in 2013.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, so last year, obviously, Tom Wallander. Oh, it was Jonathan Lekkerimäki. Okay.
2.
So then 2019 was Vasily Podkolzin.
There you go. There's 3.
Okay, 2018, we will take Quinn Hughes.
There's 4.
Okay. 2017, give me Elias Pettersson.
There's 5.
See, part of me wants to say that it was Besser, but I think Besser was 2015.
You want to walk in 2015?
Sure, 2015 Besser.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then 2016, oh, Olli Juolevi,
There
everyone's
you are.
favorite. Okay. Okay, well, 2013 was Bo Horvat.
There you go.
Okay. Jake Virtanen.
There you are. There's 9.
Oh, and then
You can wrap this up.
I can?
Yeah, he's still playing.
I need a hint here, Kenny. What are we working with?
At one point in his career, he scored 40 goals in a season.
What? Oh, that's actually a
You know
bad
what?
miss. That's a bad miss from me. Yeah. We'll lock in Jared McCann.
There you are. There's 10.
Wow.
There's 10.
Moving on here, we have something a little recent. Okay, it's can you name the top 10 goal scorers from last season?
Derek David,
Yep, there's one.
Pasternak.
There's two.
Give me Rantanen.
That's three. That's the 1, 2, 3 right there.
Give me Draisaitl.
And that's the fourth.
Give me Braden Point.
Braden Point was fifth. Wow.
Give me Jason Robertson.
You can get Jason Robertson in the 7.
There we go. Give me my future Rocket Richard winner, Tage Thompson.
Yep, you can have him in the 6.
Ovechkin's 42 then.
You can have Ovechkin at one of the
There we go.
42s. Yep.
Okay.
2 more spots to fill.
I'm going to go with Austin Matthews.
Austin Matthews only had 40 goals last year. So that is a life off.
Can I get Kyle Connor?
Kyle Connor is incorrect.
Tim Stutzel on there?
Is Tim Stutzel a guess?
Yes.
Tim Stutzel scored 39 goals.
Oh no.
That's 3
What are
lives.
the names? What are the names?
You were looking for Jack Hughes with 43,
Huh.
and then you were looking for McKinnon, Scheifele, or Verhaeghe with 42.
We're going to make yours super hard now. We're going to do a little career path, but I'm going to leave out the last team. So yeah, just read them off for you.
Sure.
Carolina,
Mhm.
New York Rangers, Minnesota Wild, Buffalo Sabres, and Montreal Canadiens.
And then the current team?
And then the current team. Yeah.
See, it's making me think of Eric Stahl. But I don't remember him playing for the Rangers. I will guess Eric Stahl.
There you go.
It is Eric Stahl.
That's it.
Okay,
Next off.
okay.
That's a good one.
Oh,
That was quick, too. That was quick.
all right.
His brother.
So, my last trivia for you. You asked me an episode or two ago about Stanley Cup winners. So, I decided, let's see if you can name the last 10 Stanley Cup runner-ups. So, the team that lost in the finals.
Oh.
Oh, sounds like it's too easy. Okay, let's hear it. 3 lives.
2023, we have the Florida Panthers,
Yep, there you go. There's one.
and then we have Tampa Bay Lightning,
There's 2.
the Montreal Canadiens,
There's 3.
then the Dallas Stars,
4.
then we have the Boston Bruins.
Yep, there's 5.
2018 was the Vegas Golden Knights.
6.
2017 was the Nashville Predators.
7.
2016 was the Sharks.
8.
2015 was the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah,
10.
it's the same team, so we'll stay with 8.
Okay. 2014 would be the New York Rangers.
There's 9.
2013 would be the Bruins, but that's the same team.
Yep, same
So I'll
team.
move on.
Still 9.
That 2012 would be the New Jersey Devils.
There you go. Wow. Putting on a clinic, making it look easy.
So wrapping up the trivia, we're going to do a collective one, and we're going to do the puck doku for the day. For those of you that don't know, it's just, a simple grid with, teams, stats, and you sort of just pick players that correspond with each one. And, we're going to work together, going to have some fun. No more, head-to-head, going, one-on-one. But, so let's get into it. I guess we'll go one for one.
Yeah, you can start us off.
Okay. The Leafs and the Flames, I like Matt Stajan.
Oh, wow.
That fits.
You're going to have the much more 7% uniqueness score. There you go.
That's higher than I thought it would be.
Okay. Okay. So, Leafs, Blue Jackets, we're gonna go with Nick Foligno. Okay.
Okay.
Maybe he only played 7 games for the Leafs, so who knows? 37%. Yeah. Okay.
Oh. Okay.
My bad. There goes. Okay.
See, I don't know if I want to put this as I don't know. Are you more confident in Columbus and Ottawa or Calgary and Ottawa? Because we're gonna use Good Branson for one of them.
Okay, I could do Columbus, Ottawa.
Okay, so we'll use up Calgary, Ottawa for Good Branson.
Sure. Eric Goodbranson?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's try that.
5%. Okay.
Okay.
There you go. Okay. Sens, Blue Jackets, keeping it simple. We're going with Anthony Duclair.
Okay.
3%. Wow, that's
Oh,
that's
wow.
actually way lower
Oh,
than I
it's only so
thought.
high.
Yeah.
Do you know Andrew Raycroft?
Yeah. I remember Andrew
The
Raycroft.
Bruins?
I
Do you
think
think he did
that's a
some
shout. I think he might have.
I say.
You want to try
I
it?
say we try it.
Okay.
He won the Calder, so he must have had 3 shutouts in there.
Oh, for the shutouts.
Yeah. Oh, what did you want? You wanted to do for Toronto?
No, I was thinking for the Sens. Did he? I thought you.
I don't.
I was just going off what you were saying. So Raycroft, 3
shutout.
shutouts for the Bruins.
Yeah.
Okay, let's try it.
Let's go, yeah.
Andrew Raycroft. Correct. 7%.
Okay.
Okay. So Leafs Bruins. I'm gonna go with Noel Acciari.
That's a good one. Yeah.
3%. There we go. Okay.
Oh, there we
So
go.
Flames Blue Jackets shutouts, and then Sens Bruins is what we have left. He might have. Oh. What about Curtis Lazar?
That's a good one. I'm
Okay.
good with that.
Let's rip Lazar. 3% again. Okay. There we go.
Okay.
There's the 2 shutouts left.
So we can either play it safe here and just do like Kaprizov about speed.
Where our uniqueness score is at 65. Are we trying to stay under 100, or like what do you normally stay under? I know you go lower, but
Let's just rip it. Steve Mason.
rip Steve Mason. Steve Mason is correct. 18% though.
Wow. Okay.
So-
That's higher than I thought.
It's down to the Flames.
Calgary. Okay. Kaprizov, Markstrom.
Did Jonas Hiller? Because he was their goalie, like I think in like
I don't think
2015.
he did well though, because I remember he just crashed out of the league after that. 'Cause he was good with Anaheim.
Right. Past our time.
Okay,
Come
we
on.
can just we can play it safe this time. Rip Kaprizov. We'll take
Kiprasov.
risks later.
Okay. Mika Kiprasov. Correct. So we finished with a uniqueness score of 124. So, all right, guys, that's gonna be all from us today. Thank you so much for tuning in. But yeah, no, it was a good time. Kenny, any words?
Not much. Yeah, let us know if you guys can think of anything you want us to do. And thank you again for listening.
Up and you won't hear a sound. I got 1,000 gunmen turning up, but they will gun you down. Oh, you know she wild inside.